Hi, I'm Eric T. McKelly, the Director of Admissions at Regis. And we know we're in the middle of a pandemic and you're unable to visit us for our open house in person. We will have a virtual open house. We will also have a virtual tour of the building. Now, there are schools that are spending thousands of dollars on their virtual tours. We're not one of those schools, but we have a secret weapon. And his name is Stefan Puente, my cameraman. Someday, Stefan's going to win an Academy Award, most likely for this very film. So let's go inside Regis and take a tour. So we're in the 84th Street lobby of Regis, which is a beautiful lobby. We have redone the floors here, which is terrific, all right? You can almost eat off of them. In fact, I do eat off of them as often as I can. This is the site of most of the administrative offices for Regis. When students actually come into school, they'll come in on the 85th Street side, but guests will come in through the 84th Street side. So let's go on a tour of these administrative offices and see who's here. This is Mrs. Zamora, Lisa Zamora, fabulous person who's wanted in many different countries and therefore is avoided. Okay. And now we're going to go into the Regis Chapel. Come on in. So this is our beautiful chapel, and this is where we would have Mass on a regular basis here. When we have the larger masses of Regis, we can use St. Ignatius Loyola. So the big masses, that would include the whole school, and certainly the big events of Regis like graduation, academic convocation, would take place at St. Ignatius Loyola on Park Avenue. But this, for more intimate masses, either class masses or other special events, we would have the Mass here. This would also be the place where we would send our boys off to retreat, and where they would return from the retreats for some quiet meditation and some reunion with folks who have been praying for them as well. So let's see the chapel. Welcome back. So this is the Regis Courtyard, beautiful Regis Courtyard. This is used for all sorts of events. Students will come out in their lunch period. They can eat at the lunch tables here. They can hang out with their friends. They can do some studying. The only problem with the courtyard, it has extraordinary acoustics. So literally everyone in the building can hear any private conversation that takes place in the courtyard. One of the other special uses of the courtyard is actually chess on Fridays at Regis, in which the chess club will organize a sort of massive chess contest or, practicum for anyone who wants to learn how to play chess. And there's nothing like a nice way to unwind at the end of the week playing chess in the Regis Courtyard. This is also used for a lot of parent events and faculty events and alumni events as well. As you can see, it's an oasis in the middle of a big city.
Eric, can you hear me?
I can certainly hear you, Stefan. Perfect example of the echoes here. If you're interested in horticulture, Regis has an excellent collection of trees and bushes. So I'm here in the lower gym of Regis, and through incredible magic, I'm able to turn on the lights by merely going like this. But of course it didn't happen. So, don't know why, so we have to... Here we are in the lower gym of Regis. Now, this is the smaller of our two gyms. All right? This will be used for gym class. It will be used for a lot of intramural games as well. And it will also be used for dodgeball. Okay? Some of the fiercest dodgeballs you will ever see take place at Regis High School. Right? But again, let me remind you, this is just one of two gyms that we have. Okay. In addition to the two gyms, we have a wonderful weight room. During the day, it's used for the students, but after hours, it's the Faculty Health Club. Let's go check it out. 176, 177, 178, 179, 180, 181, 182. I think that's enough for today. 78 miles and 1/10, 78 miles and 2/10, 78 miles and 3/10. Okay, and don't forget to cool down. Woo! So we're inside the Regis cafeteria, but if you look at the Regis cafeteria, it's actually become a classroom. We're getting ready for the return of our students eventually. So I'm standing outside the Regis vending machines. I'm going to let you in on a little secret. For the first 4 months of the pandemic, these were the sole source of food for me. And as you can see, I ate a lot. So here we are at the heart of the cafeteria. I'm standing outside the panini and wrap station. But I don't just stop there. After the panini and wraps, I move to the daily entree. Then, over to the grab and go. And then, as a chaser, over to the pizza. And that is why I put on 25 pounds during this pandemic. So I'm standing outside the Regis piano in the cafeteria. One of the great features of a Regis lunch is that some very, very talented musician from Regis will be playing music while the boys are eating. I'm not allowed to actually go close to the piano because I'm perhaps the worst piano player of all time. I'm so bad that they actually lock the piano to keep me from playing it. So I'm standing outside the 85th Street entrance of Regis, and this is the entrance that our students use in the morning. Essentially what they do, they arrive from the very far diaspora that is Regis, and they arrive at the 85th Street door, and they have their ID card, and that's how they get in. So this is the 85th Street foyer of Regis, which you can see is beautifully designed. Very intricate work. And now we're going to go see the Regis Auditorium. Come on in. So welcome to the Regis Theater. This is where we put on all our major plays. We do one straight play and one musical. This is where our band, our orchestra, our glee club meet. This is also where Lady Gaga got her start. So these are the cheap seats for Regis Productions, but every seat at Regis is a good seat. So this is the Regis elevator. Now we have pretty strict rules on this. In order to be in the Regis elevator as a student, you actually have to be injured, but you are allowed to bring one friend who can carry your books, but not 5 friends carrying a book each. Welcome to the home of the Regis Raiders. This is where our basketball teams play in front of sellout crowds. This is also going to be your gym class. Look around. So 38 years ago, before I became the director of admissions at Regis, I was actually the JV basketball coach. Let's see if I still have it. I told you. So as we walk down this hallway, we're really going past the Regis Hall of Fame. And these are plaques testifying to the athletic prowess of our students. Okay. So this is one of our track athletes from 1928, which makes him 120 years old today, which is pretty amazing. So he must be in really good shape. So this is a picture of our 1927 football team. We no longer have a football team, but this team is actually better than both the Jets and the Giants. Before we go into the Regis Library, we're going to take a look at the old library and then compare. This is the library from 1927. The first point of comparison is how well dressed these guys are. They're either paid professional actors or Regians. So this is where our wonderful librarian, Diane Del Prioris, sits. And this is where she keeps her eyes on all of the Regians as they do their homework quietly in the library. If you're going to come to Regis and you want to be one of the boys at Regis, you're going to have to spend a lot of time in this library. Because we're actually not in session, the library has been converted into a mini golf club. So I'm standing next to the antiquities that were donated to Regis by a couple who had no previous connection to Regis. They thought they lived in the neighborhood, the Regis boys were always so wonderful to them without even knowing them, and they decided to leave us these antiquities. If you're looking for a really good Christmas gift and you're kind of running behind and doing that for your mom, I would recommend a Minoan vase. If you take the vase or the Byzantine cup or any of the other antiquities, please don't tell Ms. Del Priori. One of the great features of a Regis education is the opportunity to meet your teachers in a resource center. Every academic department has a resource center. This is the History Resource Center, one of the best. Nice, intimate, wonderful teachers. We have Kate Landron here, who would be typically available and surrounded by her students. But obviously we're in the middle of a pandemic, so she's sitting here working with her students through Zoom. Okay. So I'm sitting at the desk of one of my distinguished colleagues, Father Arthur Bender, who teaches not only history, but Latin and theology as well. I love talking to Arthur. Okay. So I think it's important to make a grand entrance into the grandest room at Regis, the famous physics lecture hall. Now, this has been recently renovated, this lecture hall, but it's also the site of many famous movies like Finding Forrester and Prince in the City, and TV shows, episodes on Law and Order and The Good Wife. But it's also used for physics and calculus and the speech and debate team. It is sort of a general purpose room that we've come to cherish. So it's from this podium that you'll be introduced to the mysteries of physics by Mr. Frank Barona and Dr. Luca Montone. So I'm outside the biolab, and this is the very lab that Dr. Anthony Fauci got his start. So let's go check it out. So it'll be on this whiteboard that Mr. Simon and Dr. Carew will teach you freshman biology and advanced biology as well. So this is one of the experiments that one of our freshmen proposed. He wanted to see if he could offer a diet supplement, but unfortunately it worked a little too well. I just wanted to point out that the force is strong for those who study at Regis. One of the great traditions of Regis is for the seniors to tell the freshmen that we actually have a pool on the roof. We don't actually have a pool on the roof, but we do have the second largest green roof in New York City. Let's go check it out. So one of the great pastimes of being a faculty member at Regis, one of the perks I should point out, is actually sunning yourself on the Regis roof. That's what I'm doing now. Speaking of sun, we actually use the sun to give ourselves 7% of our electricity through these solar panels here. Actually, some classes sometimes, if a teacher wants to sign up the roof for a classroom, they can come up here and sit around and have an open air discussion. It's also used for faculty and parent activities as well, a couple of parties here and there. We also use it at midday for intense interrogations of our students. It's amazing what kids will admit to, including crimes far in the future when they're under the intense glare of the midday sun. Another favorite thing to do on the roof is to see what the neighbors are doing, because quite frankly, they're looking at us as well. One last thing. Over there are our bees. We actually produce a significant amount of honey. Regis has its own thriving honey business, and that's where we're going. But this is the closest I'm going to get because it's pretty dangerous to walk over there. People often ask if we have a hiking club at Regis. We do, and we practice for this hiking club by walking on the Regis roof in this vast stretch of territory that we own. Take a walk with me. As the old song says, on a clear day you can see forever. This is Manhattan. That, by the way, is St. Ignatius Loyola Grammar School. And over here is St. Ignatius Loyola Church. So this is the water tower of Regis. Yes, so this is the art room of Regis, and we have a combination of studio art, hands-on art, and also art history as an academic course as well. This is, by the way, where Cézanne got his start. So this is the Hearn speech and debate room, which also doubles as the admissions office at Regis. And it's a big hangout for a lot of kids at Regis as well. They can read any of the books here. They can sit on the couch and hang out, read any of the books there. So I hope you enjoyed our tour of Regis. It would have been longer, except we actually ran out of money. In fact, I had to give back the suit I wore for that day. I'd like to thank my executive producer, Mary Henninger, and my cameraman, Stefan Puente, for all their help with this. Hopefully we won't need these tours in the future. You'll actually be in the building and the very school that you've been accepted to. So congratulations again, class of 2025.